Wonder whether Dowson and Phyllis are going to be able to repeat those times in the race, because I think that Campbell is going to be the real threat to McElnay and Gardner. It might be a little bit of artistic license on the behalf of the timekeepers, the times for the big four-stroke there, number 32 Phyllis, and for number 1 Dowson. But McElnay certainly is going to be putting in a big effort.
As we look at the front of the grid there, Kevin McGee, a man who crashed yesterday, the only one of this field that did. Robbie Phyllis there on 32. Kevin McGee is a great young talent. McElnay is on Phyllis's left with the number plate M. And there's McGee's bike coming into view. Another of the 750 Yamahas. McGee crashed, the bike hit him in the backside, but he and the bike were only very slightly damaged, and he put in a superlative performance, I thought, under pressure in the Castrol 6R. He won the Yamaha RZ Series this year, but couldn't go to Holland for the World Final. But he is a great talent who is being recognised very much this year and getting some plum rides.
It's going to be very interesting to see out of the machines on the front row who makes it to the first corner in front, because the four-strokes obviously are good off the line, so that should give the advantage to Phyllis. But once we get underway, the power of V4 there, G, written by Wayne Gardner, should come into its own.
20 laps of Calder Park, all in readiness.
And Malcolm Campbell left the start without any shadow of a doubt. Michael Dowson hauls him in. Gardner is in about 4th place at this moment, but you can see him there beautifully slotted, keeping clear of trouble and not fussing at the moment. Neil Chivers further back on 56.
And it's Robbie Phyllis who rounds them up on the four-stroke Suzuki, just as Peter Clifford suggested, and leads them down the back straight. But how long will it be before they overhaul him on these nimble Grand Prix machines?
Followed by Dowson and by Malcolm Campbell and Wayne Gardner. Phyllis the leader.
Now, these are very tight corners, and it's going to be difficult for people to get past Phyllis anywhere but the straight.
And Steve Trinder has forced himself in front of Wayne Gardner, and you can see what Malcolm Campbell's doing. He's rounded up Dowson. McElnay's coming with him, and
Trinder down. Steve Trinder is down.
Now Trinder had his front wheel taken away from him there. Another rider clipped across in front of him, and Trinder's front wheel touched the back wheel, and down he went.
Steve Watson's in there battling too. Let's have a look. Steve Trinder, number 6. No, he wasn't touched. He went down of his own accord. McElnay was swooping across the front of him. It was a fairly harmless fall.
Yes, I think Trinder may, in fact, have had to touch the brakes, realising that McElnay was in front.
Up the back straight, it's Robbie Phyllis opening a lead on Malcolm Campbell.
Gardner's 5th.
Michael Dowson in 3rd position. McElnay 4th. Gardner right breathing down his neck. Outside run from Gardner on McElnay. McElnay in the inside again.
And will run him right to the outside of the track and give him no way out of the corner down there. And in fact, Michael Dowson swoops into the act too, showing no respect to the Australian international.
Phyllis still on the lead. Campbell next. Dowson swoops around the outside of Gardner and around the outside of Campbell as well, but goes too wide and drops right out of contention behind the two of them.
So it's Phyllis, Gardner now 2nd, Malcolm Campbell in there, Michael Dowson, Rob McElnay back to 5th unbelievably. And Malcolm Campbell, as you can see, 4th at this stage. And look at this man doing a superlative job. A man who rides for Mick Hone Motorcycles in Victoria. A heart far bigger than the body, because he's a quite small build of a guy. But an electric little rider, Robbie Phyllis. Always full of fun, loves his racing, but so serious, quick and professional when he gets on the bike. And he knows there's no argument between his bike and that 150 horsepower Honda, very much lighter than his, and at the same time more powerful. 3 laps completed, starting their 4th.
And now Gardner has a clear road in front of him, and I really doubt that anyone's going to be able to do anything about it. He'll be able to use all the power of the V4.
Talking to him just a few minutes before the start, and I said, will this wind worry you? And he suddenly looked startled and his eyes opened up. He said, why? Some of the riders have been reporting it's a problem. And one of his crew mentioned that some of the bikes in the 250 production race were being run wide as they tried to peel into a corner and the wind was underneath them. And Gardner said, yeah, just settle in, just take it easy. Don't panic. I said, have you got your eyes on that $50,000 for winning all 6 rounds? He said, I'm not thinking of it. And in fact, I don't expect to win that. He said, Rob McElnay could easily upset if we're only going to have a minor problem with the bike. He said, I'm just treating it race by race.
Here comes Peter Radford through the field on the back of Malcolm Campbell. In one lap, Wayne Gardner has opened 2.57 seconds on Rob Phillips. McElnay just in front of Campbell. Radford being very circumspect about this Galena Suzuki, which potentially is the rocket ship in the field, Peter Clifford.
Yes, it's a very nice motorcycle, and should be quite the match of Mal Campbell's three-cylinder Honda. So those two bikes very easily match. The three-cylinder Honda number 3 of Mal Campbell and the four-cylinder disc-valve Suzuki that Radford's riding.
On the basis of a 4th place in the Malaysian Grand Prix, Radford's team manager, Michael Henderson, arranged the ride for him on the Galena Suzuki here at Calder.
Gardner, look at the lead he's built over. Still, amazingly, Robbie Phillips is second. Michael Dowson got him now. Rob McElnay looking for him. Then it's Malcolm Campbell, Peter Radford, and further back Dave Peterson, the Zimbabwean.
Peterson there on the creepy crawly Honda. His bike is down on power compared with those two in front of him. Nowhere near as quick as the work Suzuki and the Honda. That's a private machine Peterson's riding.
And it's Kevin McGee behind Peterson. Actually, in this race, Peterson is running without the power valve, so he's losing out on mid-range torque on the Honda, a system that closes up the ports in the mid-range and lets the machine pull better at lower revs. Peterson has had to take that off bike P because he's having problems with it. He's lying immediately behind this battling pair of Malcolm Campbell on 3 and Peter Radford on P.
And we see that Rob McElnay has now stolen 3rd place away from Phillips and has got his sights set on Dowson number 1. That's McElnay on the Skull Bandit Suzuki. A space-age carbon fibre frame makes this bike handle really superbly, and McElnay can flick it through the corners in great style. You can see him braking deep into turns. That's something that this bike does exceptionally well. Now he's come out of those corners in very good shape. He's just a little bit too far behind Dowson to get the slipstream, as we see Campbell come past Phillips to take 4th place. McElnay late on the brakes, trying to make up ground on Dowson. That's number 1, Michael Dowson on the 750 Yamaha, ahead of the Grand Prix Suzuki.
Gardner has a massive lead of over 7 seconds, but it's just 2.2 covering the next 6 bikes. Dowson, McElnay on 1 and M. Big old 750 Yamaha, nowhere near the chassis, the brakes of the Suzuki behind it, but in its time, the fastest Grand Prix bike ever.
Now McElnay quicker through the turns. Oh, and a slide. That's what happened to him last year, not quite as badly, but he's got to pull himself together now, put that behind him.
And this is what happened to Rob McElnay as he went through the corner onto the main straight.
He got too close to the Yamaha. That was his problem. He wanted to run through the corner, and he got too close to the Yamaha and thought he was going to collide with it.
Now Mal Campbell closes up onto the back of McElnay on the back straight.
And you can see where Phillips has been forced back to 7th place, which really is as it should be. It was just a great start and some determined riding that had him up as far forward as he was. Beautiful shot there of this battling group of bikes. Look at them, Malcolm Campbell, Peter Radford. Far less experienced Radford on Malcolm Campbell, the wiry, so fit Tasmanian. Then Dave Peterson.
And Radford now in the slipstream of the Honda, so that's Campbell leading Radford with Peterson in the stern. There you see those two works bike pull away from Peterson on the straight.
And in the meantime, Gardner on the Rothmans Honda is just romping away from the field.
Radford trying for the inside line. He outbrakes Campbell at the end of the straight. And now it'll be interesting to watch McElnay on the Skull Bandit Suzuki. Interesting to see if Radford can get away and close on McElnay, who is still in 3rd place. Campbell now under pressure from Peterson. Peterson got too close to Campbell there. Nearly did the same thing as McElnay. And that's Radford down. Radford has crashed. He was going a little too well and ran off the circuit and fell.
Gardner, in the meantime, has started his 11th lap, so he's just finished half distance with a lead of better than 10 seconds.
What a great shame for Peter Radford. This opportunity he was given to ride the Galena Suzuki was so good for the young fella, and he was handling it with a great deal of maturity, not going as hard as perhaps we had expected him to do on the bike. And riding within himself. And what a shame that it's come to this.
And now Peterson closing, trying to look for a way round Campbell, and neither of them have got away from Phyllis. Phyllis is still there as they pass the back marker. Campbell pulls away from Peterson on the straight.
There's still only 5 seconds between the 6 bikes running from 2nd place back to 7th. But that man up front, Wayne Gardner, and I suppose the solace we can take from it is that this is the start of what all Australia, I'm sure, hopes will be an even greater career in Grand Prix racing than the 26-year-old Wollongong rider has had so far. There he is. This is his first ride as a member of HRC, Honda Racing Corporation in Japan. He now goes from from the Rothmans Great Britain team and Honda Great Britain to the factory team in Japan, and has one of the best rides available to any motorcyclist, along with Rob McElnay, who will be in the team offering greatest opposition. The Giacomo Agostini Yamaha team, McElnay has signed for them and will share, well, the team, 2 bikes, with Eddie Lawson, who took the 1983 World Championship. And Eddie Lawson, in fact, won that championship from Freddie Spencer, the Rothmans rider with whom Gardner will be teamed this year, and then Spencer won it back this year, as well as winning the 250 championship.
Now McElnay's right on Dowson's tail again, and he's really got to look for a way past him. Very tricky conditions. The back wheel of the M Suzuki almost comes off the ground, heavy under braking.
Dowson can't afford to make a mistake here. It's too early in the season for him to go flat chat. It would be wrong of Dowson to, at this stage, put that big bike in jeopardy this early in the event. When we get to the wider, longer circuits, it'll start to come into its own. But I don't think Dowson will give away that readily to Rob McElnay.
He's a real racer, Dowson, isn't he? Yes, he will defend that 2nd place, I think, at almost all costs.
Gardner completes lap 14.
And the problem that McElnay has here is that really the only place he's in a better position than Dowson, I think, is on the brakes, and that's the place he's got to choose to pass, and there are not too many possibilities to do that on this circuit.
And there's the shot from Wayne Gardner's Rothmans Honda V4 as he comes through the Calder Park S's.
And he's closing up, I think, on Jeff Sale on the 750 Superbike Suzuki, which he should squirt past down the straight as the Honda pulls a little wheelie in and out of the slipstream, almost as you blink past Sale. Shows how lightningly fast this Honda is as he approaches another tail ender. Closing up now, and this is another 750 Suzuki. This is Robert Holden's bike, I think, just as a guess, as Gardner beams in and flashes past again, so much faster.
And yes, it was Robert Holden, as Gardner now goes into the S's again. 4 laps remaining. Wind gusting up to 25 knots here at Calder Park this afternoon, making riding conditions very uneasy for these fellows, especially as they peel off the top of the back straight. So there wouldn't be too many people pulling big wheelies, Peter Clifford.
No, and we just see that Peterson's having problems. I just caught a glimpse of him there touring, so that's crucially disastrous luck for Peterson out of the race.
Yes, we'd noted he'd slipped from his 5th place that he'd gained. He's now well back. There's Gardner.
A little bit of a wheelie as we switch back to McElnay, who has got in front of Dowson and quite clearly away from him. Now McElnay with a clear road ahead of him for a little while before he comes upon a tail ender. He's going to have to try and make very good use of that to get clear of Dowson.
The design of... Oh, and look at that, coming up to Richard
Scott.
Bike number 5, Wayne Gardner, has to sit behind him out of the S's, then down the straight, winding from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, 5th gear, doesn't get into 6th, down the straight, 250 kilometres an hour, hard down on the brakes, the camera looking downwards as the bike goes down at the front, and then he gets back onto the throttle. And he gets on it, as you see, more sky, you know what the front wheel's doing, and look at the wind moving him around as well down that back straight. Yes,
as we see Gardner flicking the bike through the S's, apex to apex, almost touching each curve. You can guess that his knee's touching it because the knee is outboard off the camera, of course. Pulls wide, and then he'll come back towards the inside again as he accelerates onto the straight.
Then the tachometer, as you can see, goes up to 12,000 RPM and flicks down the straight between 11 and 12,000 RPM as he uses up the narrow power band.
Completed 18, he has 2 remaining. Wayne Gardner, therefore, the only man, providing he completes the next 2 laps in this position, in the running to do that $50,000 clean sweep of the series, but of course it takes a lot more riding to achieve that, as we look at McElnay now consolidating in second place from Michael Dowson on 1 in third. And the design of motorbikes has changed so much that the inline 4-cylinder engine that sits across the frame in the TZ 750 is now a boxer 4-cylinder, not boxer, not horizontally opposed, but a box shape. The 4 cylinders in a square, like the old Square 4 aerial. And on Gardner's bike, for instance, it's a V4. That keeps it narrow and it keeps the weight to the centre of the bike, and it makes weight transfer easier going in and out of corners. The more it's centred on the bike, the less work the rider has to do to lift it up and drop it over, change direction.
Gardner pulling a little wheelie there. The only problem he has now really is concentration. He's just got to keep himself on the boil to make sure there are no minor mistakes, and being now an experienced Grand Prix man, I can't see him doing that. This race, of course, short by comparison with Grand Prix distance. You can see him moving his weight across the machine, backside slipping one side of the bike to the other as he pulls it through the S-bends. Very nicely done.
Wearing away his knee pads, comes out of the final corner, down the straight, in a superb, calm, well-planned riding exhibition. Wayne Gardner first in Heat 1 of Round 1 of the 8th Swann Insurance International Series. This heat and round being run at Calder Park, and a lovely ride by him. Michael Dowson on 1, the Pitman's TZ 750 holding third place behind that man, Rob McElnay on the Skull Bandit Suzuki, who finishes 17 seconds behind Wayne Gardner. So it's V4 Honda in first place, the Rothmans Honda. It's the Square 4 Suzuki of Rob McElnay with the carbon fibre frame second, and Michael Dowson, the 6-year-old Yamaha 750 third.
Wayne Gardner, a 17-second victory over only 20 laps. Is that the way it's going to be for the rest of the Swan Series?
Well, I hope so. On my behalf and my team's behalf, especially. My Rothmans Honda's going very, very well, and I actually had a little bit of brake problem. I had to slow up. The front brake lever was coming a little bit too far, because I think this is very demanding on the brakes, this circuit, and because there's not really much to it. It's just a couple of drag strips and stop and go again.
Wayne, the opening laps nonetheless were pretty hectic, and they almost involved you.
Yes, there was a few riders riding a little bit over the top, I thought, especially the first lap. I think they were trying to win on the first lap, and unfortunately I think it was Craig Trindle, one of the Trinder brothers, fell in front of me on Glowweave corner, and I think he's okay, but unfortunately it nearly took me out, and I was a little bit frightened in the heart and the mouth then, but no, I sort of regained sort of control of myself and got going, and away I went from there.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.